Hello everyone and welcome back. You join me once again on the MR2. Let's take a look at the paint and let's see what needs to be done. So yes, hello everyone and thank you for joining me once again on the MR2. As you'd have known from the last episode, we finally got the colour down on the car and it looks fantastic, but it's by no means perfect. And I want to be completely honest during this entire process because you never know, it may help somebody out in the future who wants to tackle a project like this. Now, I was never going to achieve a perfect result with me using a gun in this environment. I've got no experience, I haven't got a proper paint booth, and I haven't got all the really expensive equipment that a lot of the body shop guys use. So, does that mean I can't achieve a good finish? No, of course it doesn't. It just means I'm going to have to work a little bit harder and a little bit smarter to achieve a really good result. So what I'll do is I'll take you around the car now and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about and what needs to be rectified. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the front end and I'm just going to show you guys around the car and show you exactly what needs to be rectified. So if you stand from here, it looks absolutely brilliant. You can see the gloss is reflecting the plastic sheet above and it looks absolutely great. But let's get a bit closer and you'll notice these little, I really don't even know what it is, but it was like that on all three coats. And it wasn't as if stuff dropped in it, I don't think. It is the paint. I think it's just dropped on and dried as it is. There's obviously quite a bit of dust on the bonnet and stuff. But again, the bonnet's all got it as well. So we're just going to have to sand it down, flatten it back. And what I actually really want to do is I want to give it another couple of coats. I tried on the third and final coat to lay it really thick because I knew that I was going to be sanding it back, flattening it down to make it all nice and smooth. Now, what's really frustrating is something like this wing that is pretty much spot on. There's not even any real orange peel. I mean, you can see my reflection. There's a few, there's a little bit of orange peel, but nothing. And the beauty with this paint that I've used is it's 2K, which means I don't need to lacquer it. Which means if I'd have just laid this now, I'd have just had to go over this with some 1500 grit, doing probably some 2000, just to get rid of all those little impurities, and then giving it a polish with my DA, and it probably would have come out absolutely perfect. But there's some other issues, like this run here, which is a shame because, again, this door has actually got quite a bit of orange peel on in comparison to the wing. You can see the reflection of the wall, it's quite rough. But other than that, again, simple sanding and then polishing would have brought this absolutely perfect. But you then got issues like this. Now, I'm guessing this is something that's landed in the paint and it stayed there through all three coats. And I didn't notice it until I came in today and was just running my hands all over the car to feel how bad the orange peel was or how bad these lumps were. And I got caught on this one, which is a shame. But again, this is why I wanted to go over the car and completely flat this down. There's another reason why I wanted to do all this, because as I said, with 2K paint, so again, the boot, is quite bad. And again, I don't know why, but it was like that from literally start to finish, all three coats. I tried to lay the last coat super thick to try and see if these would go, and then I've ended up causing another run here, which is a shame. But again, it's going to be sorted. But what I've actually done already is I've already started to sand this down. Now, as you can see, this is all orange peel, and you can see I've smoothed a couple of good areas where there's now no orange peel. But I had a really, really bad run section here, and I think what happened was there was a section here where the paint wasn't adhering to the primer, and I think what had happened is I didn't leave the degreaser long enough to dry. Now, it is a slow degreaser that I bought, and I think obviously the temperature in here isn't quite as warm as probably what the product should be used at. So I think I didn't let it quite dry and I had some issues, but by the third coat it had actually covered up until it was really starting to dry off, and then it just started running out again. So it caused some real bad runs. So as you can see, I've ended up having to sand back, and I've gone through to the primer, which again, I'm really not fussed about, because this is how I learn. This is how you learn from your mistakes. If I didn't do all this, then again, it's going to be one of those videos where, oh, look how fantastic this has turned out, when in reality, you know, it's not the case. Okay, so I thought I would just show you the progress I've been making so far. So that wing is now nice and smooth. So is the door. I got rid of all the run marks, and every little imperfection is now gone on that door. There was something here that the only way I could get rid of was to go all the way down. So that's where it's at. This rear quarter, absolutely no more imperfections. To be honest, this one was really good. There wasn't a lot there at all. And the boot, now obviously we had a couple of real big runs here somewhere. That's all now gone, all the way around the edge and everything as well. And then this rear quarter, I was really gutted about having to sand this down, because this was absolutely perfect. But that's now all smoothed off. I've done the pillars, but I haven't done the roof yet. This door is now also done as well. Getting a little bit of rub through, but not an issue. And then this wing is near enough completed as well. So that just literally leaves me with the front bumper, the bonnet, and the roof. And again, I'm a little bit frustrated that I'm going to have to touch the bumper, because again, like, these side pieces and everything are absolutely perfect. I couldn't have got them any better straight out of the box with a gun. But again, it has to be done. Okay, so I only slightly touched on it this morning, why I've decided to go down this route and sand this back. So there are two main reasons why I've chosen to do this. First one is to make sure that any imperfections have been eradicated. So any of these grip marks, any runs, I get rid of. Now, with this being a 2K paint, I could have just done that, then gone all the way up to a 2000 grit sandpaper, got some heavy cut compound with my dual action polisher, polished all the 2000 grit marks out, and it would have been absolutely perfect. But I only done 3 fairly thin layers of paint, of base coat, last week, so I would like to continue to build up the layer of paint. Now, there is another reason, and again, with this being a 2K paint, you don't need to lacquer it. However, I kind of blasé mentioned it last week when we painted the car, but I did have a trick up my sleeve, and I was saving it until we actually did it, but I kind of let slip last week. So I am going to be applying a glitter coat. Now, it's not massive, it's not like massive flakes or anything, it literally is a glitter. You can just about see it there. Really nice golden orange. So with me adding this on top of the paint, I'm going to have to lacquer it. Now, obviously that means I'm creating more work for myself, and that's not ideal. But I wanted to try and do something a little bit special. I wanted to try and see if this would work. So obviously I'm hoping that it does, because I've put all this work in. What I will do next week is, before I even attempt to lay any more paint, is I am going to start to prep the other bits and pieces, like the spoiler, the headlight covers, the door handles, anything like that, and then I'm going to give it a test piece so we can see what it looks like before I actually attempt to do it on the car. Now, as I said earlier, I want to apply another 2 or 3 coats of this base coat to the car, because what I'm going to have to do is flat it down again to make sure that all the imperfections have gone. Then I'll apply the glitter coat, then I'll apply the lacquer. So again, I need to build up the paint layers so that I can afford to sand it flat, so that I can then put the glitter coat on and get the lacquer on and make sure that it is a nice, smooth, perfect finish. So that is the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I say, I want to give it another 3, possibly even another 4 coats, so that I have an extra coat to be able to flat down before I put the glitter on. So I know it sounds probably a little bit backwards, me creating all this work for myself, but as I said at the beginning of this video, just because we're not in a professional environment, and just because we're not using professional tools and we're not in a booth, doesn't mean that you can't get a good finish. And I'm hoping that I can prove this to you, and obviously the best way for me to do this is to continually make sure that the paint surface is flat, apply some more, and go from there. So thank you very much for watching, and like I say, next week I will finish prepping this off, but I'm also going to start to prep all the spoiler and everything, because I would like to get them painted at the same time I do the extra 3 or 4 coats on the main car. That way I can then apply the glitter and the lacquer to everything at once, and I'm not having to do it multiple times. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.